All right, howlers, let's get howling. But first, a couple quick warnings. First warning, this podcast contains adult content.
Don't be a pixie.
Second warning, this podcast contains spoilers for the entire Red Rising saga.
Red Rising saga. Oh, no. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Etsy, email, HowlerPod@gmail.com. Visit us at HowlerPod.com. And subscribe to our YouTube channel.
I'm still raising the roof.
Did you see the TikTok where it's like, we know you're old because your hands are in the air? Like you just don't care?
Shit.
Sorry, Ben.
Just got posted up.
And rate and review us 5 stars only. If you don't give us 5 stars only, then we will make you stand trial in front of not your peers.
A jury of people that hate you.
Yes.
And now, HowlerPod.
Oh!
I didn't turn you over to Romulus because I delighted in your suffering. I did it because I was young, blind, but most of all, I was afraid.
Hello, howlers. Welcome to HowlerPod, your podcast for all things Red Rising, where every episode we dive deep to break down, celebrate, and discuss all aspects of the fantastic Red Rising saga by Howler number 1, Pierce Brown.
Ow, ow!
I'm your host, Ben Reinert. I am joined today, as always, by the amazing Erin Ayers.
Hello, Howlers.
Erin, what are we doing today?
Lightbringer reread, chapters 55 to 62.
I heard a rumor that there's a special guest on this episode.
What the fuck?
Somebody wise? Somebody wonderful?
Is it Heather?
It is.
I can't wait. Well,
Heather Madsen will be joining us
yes.
later on.
But first, let's load up this star shell and shoot straight into our chapter summaries.
Hopefully, we don't shit our suits.
Hope not.
That'd be embarrassing when Heather's here.
Don't do it in front of Heather or in the same room as me. Thank you.
Chapter 55, Darrow, Demigod. The bill from the last chapter
Bills.
is coming due. Sorry, Bills. Go Chiefs. The bill is coming due in the form of 4 Republic assault dropships filled with obsidians, scarred, and the rest of his crew are on the way. Darrow has Cassius get behind him. He's got a plan. As the boys are surrounded by the obsidian, Darrow reveals himself to their surprise. Could it really be Tir Morga? They debate amongst themselves. Scarred is skeptical, but his less greedy son, Sigurd, is more convinced. A couple of braves attack Darrow, and he dispatches them quickly, but maybe with a little too much flair, as he pulls a hammy in the process.
He's getting old.
No one else is interested in testing him any further. Sigurd approaches and bares his throat. Darrow lets them know why he is here. He is declaring Ashvar on Fa. He's come to kill him. Scarred is like, that's not going to happen, bro. He would never even fight you. Sigurd is trying to convince his father, Scarred, that they should listen to Darrow and help him, but he is cut off as sniper fire rings out all around him. Cassius and Darrow hit the dirt as the obsidians take cover.
Chapter 56, Darrow, Dust Mice. In the chaos, figures are jumping around, killing obsidians and being killed by the obsidians. But who is it? It's Severo and the daughters. Cassius and Darrow run over and take Scarred captive, turning off his suit and hanging him by his helmet horns over the magma river. And Darrow's like, hey, I have your Jarl. And everyone's fighting. And he's like, he's heavy. Nobody listens to Darrow. Then the Archimedes races in with guns ablazing. Lyria is flying, but who is so deadly accurate on those guns?
Who could it be?
Pew, pew, pew. The fighting finally stalls thanks to the Archie, and Darrow addresses the Obsidians. He gives them a big guilt trip speech about breaking oaths and being bad boys.
Very bad boys.
How dare you? He says, tell Fa to expect me. He gives them Scarda and heads into the Archie. We find out that the gloomy bastard Diomedes. That was my Irish accent for Lyria.
I liked it.
Diomedes was on the guns. Diomedes is just like good at everything.
He's very good at everything.
Aboard the Arky also are the prisoners that the Obsidians tried to take, the daughters, our crew, and then one Obsidian wanders in with Severo. It's Sigurd. He surrendered to Severo because he doesn't like Fa. Cassius then takes off, and we fly to Europa to see Athena in the deep.
Chapter 57, Lyria, Lamps in the Storm. The Archimedes flies down to Europa as Lyria makes her way into the brig to question Sigurd. She wants some info on Volga, and he tells her that Volga was given a command on Callisto. She participated in the destruction and led her own soldiers. Our Volga? She's all in for this spa shit, apparently. Lyria cannot believe what she is hearing. Lyria leaves the brig and finds herself at the viewport watching the descent into Europa outside the window. She's watching a Leviathan swim by.
A big-ass fish.
Severo appears with his toenails.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and it's quite an image.
I can't be around that.
It's tough.
That's how he hangs on without magnetic boots.
The toenail bit from Severo is just fantastic. Severo appears, and he starts talking to Lyria about the Leviathan that she just saw at the window. He gives her some backstory on Syraxes, the greatest Leviathan of them all. Severo and Lyria snipe back and forth a bit before Severo asks her about being at the birth of Ulysses. Lyria gives it to him straight, telling him what he wants to know and that Volga was there helping the whole way. Lyria then calls Severo out on some of his shitty behavior and tells him that she thinks he is afraid to let people down. That's why he won't wear Ares' helm anymore. Severo considers this and tells her, wearing it really ate me up. Lyria tells a story about her dad and how he used to inform on other Reds. She used to hate him for it, but now she sees it as a man doing what he thought was best. She can't hate him, but it does make her sad because he accepted his prison. Does Severo have to do the same thing? I don't know.
Chapter 58, Lyria, Europa. We land on an island on Europa. The whole group departs except Cassius, who decides to stay behind on the Arky. He's like, what good's a getaway ship if there's no pilot? Which makes sense.
That's a great point.
The daughters take Darrow and everyone else down to the deep. They board a submarine shuttle and strap in. As they are descending, which, by the way, this reminded me of Lyria on a different shuttle when things started going wrong. She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that is a good point.
So instead of going up, they're going down. Lyria notices the big guys are all yawning a lot, and Severo's struggling to stay awake. Something's off. Then they land, and Lyria looks out the window and sees daughters walking by with big, heavy chains.
Wonder who that's for.
Lyria shouts a warning, but it's too late. Gas Serancine. I can't remember.
Nailed it.
It's a hard word.
Yeah.
Gas for the Golds is knocking them out. Lyria can't break out of her seatbelt, and she drops her gun as she tries to fire it at the big crusty red, Cheon. Cheon is being a baddie. She starts punching Darrow in the face with a metal gauntleted hand. Lyria's screaming. Ari is able to slip her restraints and grabs Lyria's gun. She fires it overhead and is screaming at Cheon, and Ari's crying, but Cheon won't stop. And then finally, Athena comes in, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing, Cheon? And Cheon's like, I'm sorry. So Athena diffuses the situation, but she says to Lyria, this is justice.
It's happening. Chapter 59, Darrow, Athena. Darrow wakes up, chained in a cold room. Athena is here with him. Darrow asks about his other friends on the sub. They are safe, but not him and the Ra. They are prisoners that are about to go on trial. Darrow and Athena talk back and forth, and she explains why he's on trial. And he knows. We all know.
We get it.
Darrow is accepting of the situation. After all, he is on the path. and he does not think that they are his enemies. He tries reciting some path bangers back to Athena.
He recites a whole chapter.
But she's pretty unimpressed. He's like, that's the biggest path banger I got. And she says, no, I'm not impressed. She tells him that he is good at memorizing stuff, so he should check this out, and throws him a hollow cube, telling him to learn the names of those he betrayed. She leaves him alone, and Darrow watches the images on the hollow cube, thousands of sons being tortured and killed after he betrayed them. Some die quiet, some scream, but most shout a name. Not Ares or Io, but Darrow's name.
The Reaper. That's tough.
It's a pretty tough one.
Chapter 60, Darrow, the weight of guilt. Darrow stands trial in front of the daughters. He's filled with guilt and shame and has decided that his life is forfeit because of his crimes. He pleads guilty to all the charges leveled against him, including betraying the daughters to the Ra. The sentence is death. Darrow smiles out at Severo and sees Lyria listening intently, so he decides this speech is for Lyria. He confesses to all the terrible things he's done and says he's not sorry for why he did them, which was to fight for freedom, but he does regret selling the Rim daughters. He chose the core over the Rim out of fear and ignorance and wishes that he hadn't. He rallies them to stick together, to save those still on the surface being attacked by the Obsidian, and to not forget the core, to make his death mean something. Diomedes then stands trial. He basically says the Golds failed to protect the Low Colors, and therefore the contract is broken. Take your due.
Gloomy bastard.
The gloomy bastard.
Chapter 61, Darrow, the Three Masters. Darrow and Diomedes return from the trial and are thrown into a cell with Cassius. Hello, who was supposed to be on the ship still. Instead, he got jumped by some black owls and taken prisoner. Darrow and Diomedes snipe back and forth about their speeches. Diomedes asks Darrow why he spoke for him. Darrow tells him that he was trying to save lives. Diomedes finally decides to open up, and he tells them what happened on the bridge of the Dustmaker. They then theorize together that the imposter on the bridge had to be Atlas, and that he is the shadowy hand behind this whole thing, and that he's paving the way for Lysander to be the shiny, shiny savior.
Which is right on
the money.
On the money.
Except for this next part.
Oh.
Cassius does not think that Lysander would go along with that plan. He's too honorable. Taught him better than that. Diomedes surprisingly agrees, and he vouches for Lysander, relaying how he thinks it was Lysander who saved him on the bridge, and that he's most likely dead now. Importantly, they discuss how Lysander was still able to move after being struck with the paralytic poison that Atlas uses and Fa will use in the future. Diomedes tells them about the toxin leech. Let's file that one away. Diomedes then tells Cassius about how much he grew to respect Lysander. Cassius is touched. Darrow is skeptical, but he feels for his friend, and he's like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, he's like, really, bro? Okay.
I love how when he says, but he's a loon.
And when they're backed into a corner, Lysander.
Yeah.
They do loon things. Chapter 62, Darrow, the Tyrant's Debris. The daughters take Diomedes, Cassius, and Darrow into a war room with a map of Ilium. We learn what all the cheering was about. Ares decided to give his own speech and convince the daughters to postpone Darrow's sentence. Ares, you say? The room goes dark. Someone moves in the shadows. I am Ares, breaker of chains. Severo put on the Twilight helm and also got his goatee back.
Hell yeah.
Glow up. Normally I don't like a goatee, but it fits Severo.
It does.
Athena was listening when they were talking about Fa and Atlas. She wants Darrow to help destroy Fa and win back the Rim. Darrow has a plan for that, which sounds too good to be true, but that's how it is with Darrow. And it sometimes works out. They also have a contract for Diomedes. They want him to be their Virginia, to fight for the Low Colors and champion the downtrodden. Diomedes clarifies that if he gives his oath, the people on the surface can take refuge with the daughters, and he'll be free to take up arms against Fa and Atlas. Athena says, "Give me your oath, and I'll put the blade in your hand myself."
Hell yeah.
Give me your oath, and I'll put the blade in your hand myself.
Wow.
It's so hard.
Is that Nick?
Was that Athena herself? Ben, what is the theme for these chapters?
Debts to be paid. We've got a lot of debts that we're talking about here, and we've got to pay for them in these chapters.
Are we collecting interest on these debts?
There's been some interest collected.
And hopefully
accrued
at a low percentage.
Yes.
For the future.
So let's talk about our first person in debt, and that's Darrow.
Darrow's the main debtor.
But there are some people that Darrow freed that are in debt to Darrow.
Wow.
And let's talk about the Obsidians, right?
I see.
Our Volk friends. All right, they're out here.
They're Oathbreakers.
They're fucking wilding out on the rim, doing all kinds of bad boy stuff.
Finally broke free of Sephi, and now...
Yep, they've been very bad boys.
Yes.
And now Darrow's here, and he's like, yo.
He's like, bad boys, bad boys.
You guys have been very bad boys. I'm the one who put the razor in Ragnar's hand.
Yes.
Y'all forgot?
They did.
So
they thought Tir Morga was dead.
Let's hear this quote from Darrow. He's calling in the debt, trying to convince the Obsidians that, it's time to come back home. Time to stop wilding out.
Before you bothered with moons, you liberated planets in my name. How far you've fallen. You know me. Or have you forgotten the man who put the razor in Ragnar's hand?
Damn.
That was a performance right there.
Ooh, I would have been like, okay, sorry.
Performance art. What a great line. Before you bothered with moons, we liberated planets.
Yeah, like
banger.
Like, what's this bullshit you're doing out here?
Yes.
This small stuff.
This was a great moment. I love Darrow, understanding his soldiers and, understanding the way the Obsidians work and just kind of using some of that to help.
Yeah, and their culture.
Yes.
It's all, honor and, a good death. And
yeah.
Yeah.
He's calling back on that, and then he also knows that once he calls out Fa, that's going to spread throughout the rest of the army.
And that they're recording him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that everybody's got a fucking GoPro, and they, it's just gonna spread like a viral video would. I love that aspect of it. So I think this is, Darrow's he's calling in Obsidian debt, and he's saying,
pay up.
Yeah, time to pay up to me. And then our next character interaction, I think this is a really great interaction that we haven't touched on yet, but Lyria and Cassius have a great moment where she's basically, I see you and why you're doing what you are doing. And it's Cassius is carrying, the tail. Cassius is carrying this debt that he feel like he owes to society at large, and he's got to, basically win back his honor, and so he's kind of carrying this debt. And I love that Lyria is the person to recognize it within him, and then how touched he is by someone, by being seen by someone in a way that nobody sees him, so I think this is a great line as well.
What you did on Io, why you did it, it's just, I look down feeling stupid, knowing the man doesn't need compliments from me. I don't know. I just think you're a good man and you have a huge heart, and I don't think people say that enough. Just wanted you to know that I see it, Bologna.
That's why Cassius was so dead set on saving those children and low colors that were being taken prisoner. It's why he had to go off mission, because he can't not.
He must.
He must. And that is part of who he is now. And damn the consequences, whether it costs him his life or whatever, he's fully ready to do that in order to do the right thing and save people that need saving. So,
and it's what he has been doing off screen since the Sovereign was poked.
Right. Yes. So this is
he's been flying around the asteroid belt saving people,
trying to
trying to do little helping things.
Right. So he's been carrying this debt all along, and I just love that
she sees it.
That she sees that, and he feels seen in that moment.
They're so cute.
Now we'll get to Darrow and his personal debts.
He's got a lot.
We know here. I mean, he killed a lot of people. We actually get like the exact numbers in these chapters, which is crazy.
It only includes low colors.
Yeah. That's not even the full destruction.
Right.
So let's hear, this is Darrow and Athena kind of going back, and was Darrow and Athena having conversation, Athena talking to Darrow.
She laughs at herself. Well, I'd forgotten Helldivers are used to plunging headlong into the dark, erasing the debris they leave behind. She tosses the hollow cube to me. We are your debris, Darrow, and we matter. You're so good at memorizing. Learn the names of those you betrayed.
I sounded like that.
That's fine. You're good.
But yes, I love this line. Helldivers are used to plunging headlong in we're the debris.
Yes.
It's like, oh, yeah, that is Darrow. He's just a fucking bullet.
It just like nailed
He's the
him.
Bullet in Mario Kart, you know?
Yeah.
That gets you to the front. That's Darrow.
Yes. It's such great imagery, and it just nails him to the wall like immediately. And then this moment where, she gives him the hollow cube and he watches all those videos. It's like, first of all, it's incredible that Darrow just like decided to do that. It was like, that's something that could have easily just been avoided, But
he had to.
He had to do it.
It was
he
his
faced
comeuppance.
it. Yes, and it had this really profound effect on him and helps him actually see that debt that he must now own up to.
And I think that her giving him the hollow cube helps him stop like raging against the bars, and it's like, okay, I accept these charges.
Yeah. And then that leads us into Darrow's speech during the trial. This is kind of near the end of that speech, and how he's owning up to the situation, and he's like, learn from this, learn from what I did, because I fucked up. And I love that he's taking ownership over it, and then doesn't matter what the consequence is for him. He's like, take this movement that I started and make it into your own, but don't make the same mistakes that I did.
I do not ask your forgiveness or your mercy. I ask only that you succeed where I failed. Do not surrender your dream to fear. Do not take the short route through shadow. You know your path. If you think you are alone on it, just look to your right. Look to your left. Look across the solar system and see what I see. A tide of one people who want only one thing. Liberty.
Nick gave me chills on that. He's killing it this week.
Nick's going
hard in the paint.
He's the bullet.
Yeah. This is, just what a great speech. And like, there's levels to this, right? It's like, not only is this in the immediate for don't make the mistake of not saving the people on the surface of Europa, but as for this entire movement, don't make the mistake of looking at just today and saving yourself right now. Like, if this thing is going to live forever, you've got to embrace everyone, including, people on Mars and people that have been left behind.
And I know, like, introspectively, Darrow has accepted his punishment of death, but this is also like a very smart way to play this. Like, he doesn't say I'm not guilty because, or make excuses. He really gave himself the best chance of living by what he does, empowering the low colors.
Yeah, he actually learned, and like, yes, and I love that he's not asking for, I love that he starts with, I'm not asking for forgiveness. Like, you don't have to forgive me over this. Like,
but just don't waste.
Yes. This opportunity that's now in front of you, where don't do the same thing that I did, because you're doing that. You're protecting your people over other people when the idea is that we should be protecting all people. And I already fucked that up once.
Yeah.
Don't do it again. Yeah. So yes, he's like, don't take on that debt that I now have.
Mm-hmm.
So what a great,
Lots of debts.
yes, what a great week of quotes. Thank you, Nick. That was awesome.
Great job, Nick.
Let's move on to our next segment. And this is such a good one this week.
How was Cassius hilarious today?
Like, okay.
There were a lot.
There were so many, but him like being in chains
and beat up.
And then just like, I can imagine him with his hands like shackled together and just be like, hello. I laughed about that for like fucking 5 minutes straight.
And Daryl's just like, what the fuck? God damn it, Cassius.
And he was like, oh man, everybody's like off down to the deep, right? He's on the Archimedes by himself. He's like, I'm going to get fucking, I'm going to get drunk and watch some fucking old videos. He's probably like, this is going to be a great night. I finally have a night off. I can put my feet up.
And then he gets beat up.
Then he gets like taken prisoner.
He was like, the daughters are better at sneaking than fighting obsidian.
He has so many great moments though. There was another one where like he's talking about the hammer again, and I love
Lyria.
Yeah, and Lyria's like, everyone saw the hammer, Cassius. You made us all watch your feet.
Yeah, I love how the hammer like carries through.
Yes.
It's like, why is it so big? He's basically like, I wouldn't have gotten knocked down if it was a normal hammer. It was just a huge hammer.
Everyone saw the hammer.
You made us watch it.
And then the last one is when Severo comes in with the helmet and like all the lights go out and it's like this great,
and you can't even see your hands.
It's like this incredibly tense moment.
Yeah.
And then Cassius just cuts through all that tension with Neptune's prick. I thought I just died.
So good.
The high and the low there. I just like, that's such a great, like, the way that Pierce combines that is awesome. So it just makes it,
and like the drama of what Severo does with the Twilight helm.
Yes.
And then he's like,
yes, the drama, and then this moment of levity that just kind of cuts through
like,
it all.
Damn, dude, what? Scaring the shit out of me. And not only was Cassius hilarious today, he was also very sweet.
Yes.
With Lyria.
Yeah.
And they're just so cute together.
Yes, I put a moment in the Prime 5 of them that I really enjoyed as well. So,
well, what should we do next?
I think it's time to talk to our wise and wonderful researcher.
Okay, we'll be right back with Heather.
All right, next up, please welcome to the HowlerPod stage our wise and wonderful researcher, Heather Madsen is here, everybody.
Heather, pew, pew, pew.
Hello.
It's so good to see you.
Yes.
It's so nice to see you guys too. I'm sorry I didn't come with any historical research today, but when you guys get back to those character analyses, I'm here for you.
Amazing.
We appreciate it.
We'll hold you to it.
Yeah, you might want to be careful about what you say there.
What, there were like, I don't know, 2 new characters? I don't know. There are probably more new characters than
There's really, you don't have too many more new ones.
It's like Ore and
Chion,
Athena. Everybody knows who Athena is, though. So, like, you know.
Yeah, that's about it. It's like this section is kind of our new character section, really.
Sigurd.
Yeah, Sigurd.
Dark Age really killed off a lot of people.
A lot. Yes.
Yes.
Saved you a lot of historical research work.
Saved you some work.
Yeah.
Well, hey, what have you been up to? It's been a while.
Yes, tell us about your life. What's been going on?
Yeah, so I think the last time I was on the pod was maybe like my sophomore year of college. I'm graduating.
Yeah, I think it was like
my undergraduate. I changed my major again. I'm studying geochemistry now. And
nice. I think the last time we talked to you, it was like,
I thought you were marine biology.
It was marine biology, I think, right?
Yeah, I was doing evolutionary biology last time, but then I realized that I actually hate biology. So I'm really just here for the earth and for chemistry. So those are my 2 passions, and they intersect in geochemistry. And I was just studying abroad in Copenhagen, but like mainly to go to Greenland and do some research on the Greenland ice sheet, which was super cool. I was only there for a week, but it was a good time.
I love it. Please save the world for all of us.
It sounds like you could work
the glaciers are melting,
on the garden.
She's got bad news.
Bad news from Greenland.
Bad news for all the mountain glaciers, actually. Greenland's holding out all right. So is Antarctica, but
good.
Okay.
The mountain glaciers are fading fast. We're not supposed to have any mountain glaciers by the end of the century, so go out there and hike now while you can. Yeah. But
thanks for coming on, Heather.
Maybe somebody will learn how to terraform some planets by then, and
there we go.
Control the environment a little better.
God. Yes.
Yeah, I also got to learn about some extraterrestrial ice on Europa, which is fitting for these chapters.
Wow.
And about how
Please
to
tell us more.
Create rock. Well, it was just a short little guest lecture at the end of my semester. I was taking like an Arctic glaciology class, and like Europa right now is covered in ice, but there aren't like any craters on the surface of the planet because the ice is like continuously flowing because it's like, freezing, and what that implies is that there's like liquid water beneath the ice, which obviously we know about because of the deep. But they also think that there could be like conditions for life based on whether or not like the core of the planet is able to like provide energy through chemosynthesis. So there's like a space exploration mission that's being launched soon to investigate that.
Damn.
So
nice.
How did Pierce know?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll find a Leviathan down there.
Pierce knows everything. I recommended Red Rising to the guy who gave the guest lecture because I was really excited.
You were like, thanks for the facts. Here's some fiction that you might like.
Exactly.
She's going to intersect beautifully.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, that sounds great.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm like biding my time out in Seattle until I go back and finish my year in Princeton.
Nice. That's awesome. Yes, it's been very fun to follow your travels across the world.
Yes, we're very proud of you.
I know. So proud.
Thank you.
We're proud Howler parents.
That's not weird at all.
But you're still wise and wonderful, and we're so thankful that you came on the pod today to talk about Lightbringer.
Yes.
Because we haven't talked to you since Dark Age.
Yes, I don't even know what your thoughts are on Lightbringer yet. So we talked like a little bit right after you finished, I think. But I want to hear. Okay, so like give me the Heather review. How did it go?
I was saying earlier that I finished the book once I got this hard copy, I just like read every single day, all day. Like I had work every day. I was so negligent. I was like, sorry, somebody else can do this. Like
I did the same
I'm reading.
thing.
Yeah, it's super necessary. And I finished really fast. And my friend who ordered the book with me, she was like record your Insta reaction and like send it to me when I'm done. Of course I forgot to do that. So I can't remember my initial thoughts. I know I was crying. I remember at the end of the book, I was on a hike in like Eastern Washington, and I kept like stopping and just like lying on these random rocks, and my friends got really mad at me because I just wouldn't keep moving. I was like, I'm sorry, like I'm like shit is hitting the fan. I'm really sad right now. And like I couldn't even finish reading on that hike, even though it was like I was up there for like 8 hours. I just was like, I knew things were not going well, and then I finished. Like I read Cassius dying on this dock on Lake Washington, and like the waves were crashing around me, so like nobody could hear me crying, but I was obviously. But
it's picturesque.
I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful book.
That is a beautiful scene.
I really liked it. I was initially like fearful that it would just like Darrow was in the dumps again, and he would be kind of like he was in Iron Gold. But I think he really like figured out. I kind of think about reading, like when I'm writing, I think about it as like I'm like painting a picture, and I don't know what it like what I'm painting yet. And I feel like Darrow kind of like embraced that. Like he doesn't really know where he's going, but he's gonna like keep making methodical decisions and like move forward and follow the path. So I thought it was really good. I know some of my friends and family members aren't like done reading it, and the like first third of the book, they're like, I'm not really sure how I'm vibing with this, but I think personally, I love Pierce's writing, so I don't really care if we don't have a lot of action right from the start. But I know that's one of their complaints. But I thought it was great. I really liked it overall.
There's plenty of action soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just got to get into like part 2, and then you'll be pretty good.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that reaction. I love what you were saying there about Darrow's path and the painting.
The painting, that's a beautiful
that
analogy
really is.
For it.
And yet, what were your favorite parts?
Well, obviously, Clang was awesome. I liked all of
Confess.
I think everything from like everything in the Rim. I think the Rim is such a cool place. So I liked anytime Darrow's out there. I also like Lysander, like seeing Lysander on Luna rather, and like dealing with Atalantia and like how crazy she is. I guess they're on Earth, right? Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah, and I think it's always fun to hear Virginia's perspective, but in this book it's like stressful because she's not winning.
Oh,
but
so stressful.
She's so smart, so it's fun to like be there with her and see that she's like trying to save as many people as she can. And it's cool in these chapters to hear like the daughters of Ares try to replicate what Virginia has tried to bring the Republic through Diomedes. But I think just Darrow in the Rim, Darrow and Diomedes together is probably my favorite so far.
Nice.
I like it too.
We were just talking about Fa being a big old phony. What did you think about that?
I think I was like expecting that, obviously based on the end of Dark Age, but I enjoyed it being like laid bare and exposed the way it was, and that he was like trying to pull the wool over the eyes of people that would like really care about him being a fraud. So I think that's super fitting. I guess, I think Atlas, obviously, just like getting to see like all of the strings that Atlas is pulling exposed in this book was also a highlight for me.
Yes, that whole plan like laid bare for sure.
Yes.
And I there was something about the Fa being a phony. Like I know there was other like fans that were maybe dissatisfied with that, but I don't know. I don't
see how you could be dissatisfied.
I felt it was so satisfying.
Anything, because it's what it's meant to be.
I thought it worked. I just thought it worked really well. I don't know. So I'm glad to hear that you felt the same way. Did you have like any expectations going into this book? Because like for us, I feel like this book was like so wildly different than what I expected from Lightbringer, but it was totally welcome. Like I loved it.
It's much more upbeat than Dark Age.
Yes. Did you have like, were you scared going in, and did it like exceed expectations, or how did that play out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm never like afraid of Pierce like taking the story somewhere that I don't want it to go, but of course I'm afraid because I still love these characters and I like try to live in denial and be like, nobody's gonna die. Like I was surprised that Cassius died. Like, should I have
Yeah.
been? No, not at all. But like, I still was surprised and sad, but I definitely expected a lot more of it to be spent on Mars. You know, I didn't think the Rim would come into the picture again at all. But I think it makes sense since it's like a middle, like, it's not the culmination of the trilogy, but rather like another like stepping stone towards the end of the series. So
I think that's a really good point. And I agree with you. Like, going in initially, the expectation for so long was that this was going to be the last book.
Right.
But then when we get the
last
announcement,
one has to be on Mars.
Has to be on Mars. Yeah. But now that we changed the story up and we're added a book, it is great that we get this whole detour. And I feel like it was so necessary for like Darrow specifically.
Right.
To do all of this, especially kind of what happens.
Work.
Yeah, what happens in these chapters. And we can talk about that. We can talk about chapter 55 through 62 now. Great set of chapters. Just like, we have a really good Darrow speech. We get like...
I teared up a lot this week. Yeah. Not on the initial read, but just from like the comeuppance, I guess.
Yeah.
The passion.
Right. We get to meet
there were a lot
Athena
of heartfelt
and like...
moments.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
Like, man, I'm a lot more emotional the second time.
It's like this Lyria Severo moment was really great. Like, I think this is Cassius at his just like swashbuckling most hilarious.
There were a lot of how is Cassius hilarious today moments.
Yes. So this was a really great section. What did you think about like Athena and the whole Athena storyline?
And like the way they are reacting to Darrow and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought, you know, being in Darrow's head, reading about how he's like, oh, the way he chooses his seat in the submarine, like looking for like the rusty bolt so that he could always have like an escape plan. I think that's like kind of like vestigial from his past of being in the hands of like his enemies. Whereas like right now, even though these people despise him because he like was their hero, but he betrayed them, like ultimately like he needs them and he needs their beliefs to reunite with the belief that he can be their hero again. And I think it's interesting to listen to him talk about like, oh, like I should have like escaped while I had the chance and like, you know, forced them to acquiesce to me, but then that would make him into the bloodthirsty tyrant that they think he is, and he's not. You know, that's why he's the person who's fighting for freedom rather than just like a new master by a different name perpetuating the same system of subjugation. So I thought that was really interesting, and I think I'm still confused about the commuting of Darrow's sentence. When I was
yeah, right.
Me too.
I'm like, okay,
like,
so
when
like
are we commuting
Cassius,
this?
Yeah, like Cassius gets like, you know, Severo's like, he's with me, like he's chill.
Right,
Diomedes
so he's good.
Also,
yeah.
like the new like
Mustang
between
Sovereign,
the Rim and the daughters, and then like Darrow's just like their sword, but like has to come back and be retried. Like I'm confused.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how that's going to work.
Everyone else got off easy.
That was just like, and I'm sure. Like I want to just be like, oh, like they're just saying that because they're still angry at him and they want to make sure that he knows that he like is going, that like his past sins aren't like atoned just because they're like letting him fight with them. But seems like if that comes back into play, I'm not going to be happy. But I could see
I had the same thought like at the end where I'm like, is that kind of like tongue in cheek between the two of them? Because
or like, is it commuting until his natural death?
Right. Yeah, like he's going to like sacrifice himself for the cause. Yeah.
They're like, we'll commute it because there's no way you survive fog.
They do a talk about it again at the end of the book, and I was trying to remember.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Before he leaves, I'm pretty sure. They talk about it again.
I don't remember.
At the end of the book, he's like flying back to Mars with the daughter's fleet, and the Volk. Yeah.
Maybe it's just like in the future when he stops being their like sword,
Right.
which I'm not sure when that would happen. Like if he fails them, then he'll be retried.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
I guess
leaving me
he has to like
wondering,
bring
sure.
the razor back.
Yeah.
But that's a good
That
point.
would be
Everyone
super
else.
tough.
Like, why couldn't Severo be like, Cassius is with me, so is Darrow? And
obviously.
I think we said this in our
Yeah, right.
our Insta reaction. We were like, we wish we knew what Severo said. Like,
Yeah.
we never really, that's behind the curtain. So that kind of sucks.
That is one thing. There's like a couple things in this book that I wish we would have had more of a view, more of a perspective on, and that is definitely one of them. I love what you said about Darrow, picking his seat, and then he's having that like kind of reaction, like he wants to fight against it, but instead he gives in and just kind of goes along with it, and that's like showing how much he's actually changed. Because yes, we're so used to Darrow being like fighting against any kind of restraint, basically.
Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, and just
he was in a table,
like Heather pointed out.
Yeah,
the table. Yeah, so I love that call out, and that really hit me this time too. Just going back through that part and how much that changed. Like getting into just like his speech and being held accountable for the docks of Ganymede. I didn't realize like how necessary this was for his character until this book and all of this was happening. It feels like something that like needed to be addressed.
Well, until this trial, like the docks of Ganymede as a reader and the selling out of the Rim daughters as a reader is kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then you're like, anyways.
Yeah.
But now it's like, these are real people.
It just felt like still remember like when he was, talking to Romulus, trying to sway him onto the side of the Rising, and I just like never really understood because he had the like bluff about the nuclear power, like nuclear bombs, right? So it just felt like, wait, why are you also like sacrificing these other people? And the fact that he like talks about how that was coming from a place of like fear of failure and like losing the one home and like the people that have been fighting for him and alongside him this whole time. Like it was driven semi-irrationally, even if it was a means to an end, I think was really powerful. But I also agree, like it's like it was horrible to read about, and then it continues to haunt him. But I think it was interesting to have like the numbers between the people, like the sons that were sold out versus the number of low colors that died in the docks of Ganymede being destroyed. Because it was like
like
so many
to the
people.
exact number,
43 or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, wow, this was like just a lot of destruction and destroyed lives, and like that's just carnage. And I love the analogy of like the hell diver, plunging forward and where your debris, that you're not looking back at. And I agree. It's just like incredibly powerful. Him owning up to that fear and saying like, I did it because I was scared, because I valued my family over yours, basically. And him realizing that like, I did not know how necessary that was for his character going into this book, but now I'm just like, that had to happen. It had to happen for me to like...
He had to atone for all his sins.
For like me to like love Darrow again in a way, because like,
I think it was tearing him apart too.
Right.
He's doing a lot of healing in this book.
Yeah.
Stitching himself back
together.
I
think that like idea of division between like my home and these people's home also like rung true to me, like when we were reading about like how the Obsidians like have fallen so far because of like the division along gender-based lines, and how like it seems like I know like division and unity. I feel like that's been a theme of your guys's before, but that was definitely running through my mind when I was reading these things, because I was like, there's a like, of course, like any like goal or mission, like a house divided cannot stand. Like we need to, and Darrow finally gets that memo. He's like, you know, we're all the same. We need to unite and find a common ground and common purpose. Otherwise, we're just going to keep getting beaten up and battered.
Right. And it's so interesting that it's this person that caused all this carnage for them, trying to then also like teach them that lesson, you know?
Yeah.
Like these people in the room.
There were a few things in the room where I was like, if I were a daughter, I'd be like, shut up.
Yeah, and especially because they like Athena, or they continue to refer to themselves as, you know, humans rather than like the colors that people that like Darrow and Cassius or anyone would ascribe to them. So, and Darrow's like, I'm starting to think I shouldn't have come here, but it's like that's what he's trying to teach them all along, is that we're all human, not divided into these colors. So
yeah,
it is like he's having to teach them a lesson that he didn't understand, for sure.
Right. It is. It's like he's learning it at the same time. He's trying to teach it.
And I think with the whole combo where he's trying to like relate to Athena because they're both reds, he's just trying to win
like
her
a little
over.
manipulative. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and she's not having any of
I love how she just shuts that down. Yeah.
She's like, good job memorizing. You're very smart.
Yeah.
So
that was funny. I really liked that she like gave him the holocube to watch all of the executions that happened after he gave up the sons in the room. And I thought that was like, it was super powerful that they all were screaming his name, and that's why people are like doubly offended, because they like looked up to him so much. So
right. I just got chills thinking about that, and like I read it earlier today and I got chills, and like read it yesterday and got chills. Like that, it just works like every single time.
Well, and like you see Darrow's immediate anger, he feels trapped, he wants to rage against the machine, and then he calms himself and watches the holocube, and then I think that's what brings him to the point where he can say, I am guilty, because he actually sees the carnage.
And he sees just like Heather was saying, just like how much these people believed in him.
Yeah.
Specifically.
It's rough.
Yeah.
And the dream.
Yes. So, I mean, just incredible stuff. Did you have like a favorite part of this section of the book at all?
You know, I really liked, I mean, I think Darrow's speech in this section is just amazingly written, but I really liked the Severo-Lyria conversation on the ship. I thought that was really good. And honestly, like the opening up of Diomedes to the possibility of an alliance with Darrow and the daughters, I thought towards the end, that was probably my favorite part.
Nice. Those are three really good call outs. Darrow's speech, incredible. And then I love that it's followed up with Diomedes just being like,
kill me.
Take your due.
And then Diomedes like, why did you... Yeah. I love Diomedes.
I didn't read that as like, kill me. But I definitely know that's what it means. But yeah. I love Diomedes. I appreciate like
I think he was just like he was really just owning up to it. Yeah. He was just like, we had a contract. Contract's broken. So take your due. Yeah. And then I love what you said, call out the Lyria and Severo conversation. And I reread that part like several times this time, just like it's really veiled kind of like what Lyria is actually trying to say to Severo, and like how that then leads to him, you know, making this speech down the line.
Yeah, I didn't know she was trying to like drive a dagger into his heart or like be as open as possible. But when she's like, my heart just keeps turning blacker and blacker. I'm like, okay, so she's about to be a bitch and like say something that's super unhinged. But then he's like, then she's like, I would have traded places with Ulysses in an instant. Like, it just kept me guessing. And I think they both have similarly like they have jagged edges. Obviously, like Severo is super uncontrolled, but Lyria too. Like she's kind of out of left field sometimes, and I think seeing them interact anytime is an interesting thing.
They're a really fun pair. I hope we get more of them
coming up
together in Red God, because like I think you could kind of not recreate, but you could have that, you know, Lyria Cassius dynamic a little different, obviously with Severo, but I think that could be a similar type
more nasty
buddy relationship. Yeah, it would be a little meaner. Yeah, but I think you could have that. That would be a cool relationship to see develop. And he like clearly respects her by the end, in his veiled way of saying, you know, it was like
I'll talk to you as long as you're not useless.
Yeah, as long as you're not useless. And then I like that story that she relayed about her dad, and then just thinking about what she talked about and how that hit home with Severo, and like he doesn't say anything, he basically just like takes it all in
and walks
it's
away.
So hard to read like whether he even is affected by that in the moment, and so that's an easy moment to kind of like read by and not realize how powerful it was, but then, you know, 2 chapters later or whatever, it's got this great impact on Severo. That was a really cool one. I thought that was just really well done with the writing,
and I like seeing new character relationship growth.
Yeah,
like we haven't had them really talking to each other very much,
and they're so connected, you know, because like she's so connected with Victra and Ulysses, obviously, like she's this big piece,
and he has to, even though he doesn't want to know, he like has to know.
Yeah,
she's like, I need you to tell me, you know.
Okay, we're going to put you on the spot for our final question. If you have to pick a Primus of the week for this week's podcast, who are you picking for Primus of the week?
Well, I think there's a strong case for Darrow. I think he does do a lot of good in this chapter, but I would probably give it to Diomedes because I did really love his speech. And I think in the cell, like, I know he has like so little page time, but you know, that's where my heart is at right now. And I think for him to like have you know, opened up enough and come like cognitively around enough to recognize the merit of sharing his conspiracy about Atlas, I think that like changes the game. I don't know how the whole trial would have gone otherwise. I mean, I'm sure there would have been some other reason that they didn't die, but the fact that Athena was overhearing this conversation and this the puzzle pieces falling together and the confirmation of everything Darrow thought before, I think that was very impactful for me. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna have to take that into consideration
for
later.
Diomedes.
All right.
It's a good one. I like the strong, silent type.
I know he's. I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting more of him.
Coming
in Red God. That'll anything that you
more
are
screen time.
Other than like more Diomedes, obviously we now know your love for Diomedes. Anything that you're looking forward to in Red God?
I'm looking forward to seeing like Darrow and Severo interact in a less like tarnished and hateful environment, like maybe where they have the upper hand, or like the element of surprise, anything that would like bring back their dynamic in a positive way, I think would be really cool, because I really like Dark Age, but I think like Darrow and Severo being apart, it was pretty sad to read about. And so I think I would love to see, since they have like a very core relationship, I would love to see that rebuilt stronger in Red God.
I love that. Yes. It's terrible that they have this like just the nastiest breakup ever at the end of Iron Gold. Yeah. And then they're both just like
having a terrible time.
Yes, having like so pissed off about their breakup in all of Dark Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, I loved seeing the love between Darrow and Cassius in this book, but like obviously that progress has been snuffed out by Lysander. So Darrow needs another
fuck Lysander.
Yeah, fuck Lysander. I'd love.
That's a perfect way.
Love to
yes.
See Lysander get killed in Red God. But we'll see.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yes.
He has to.
Yes.
Maybe he'll accidentally chop himself in half.
We could only hope.
He'll rail slug himself.
Yes. Well, Heather, I think that is a perfect place to end on fuck Lysander. I'm glad we went all the way around the circle and ended there. So we really appreciate you stopping by and talking to us today.
Thank you so much.
I feel like that was a really fun,
to be here.
enlightening combo. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks
for sharing your
Thanks
love
for
of the
having me on
books.
the pod.
Yes. We'll have to have you back sooner than later.
And enjoy your final semester.
Yes. We're so proud of you. Keep shining.
Keep shining.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Heather.
Oh my gosh. I love Heather.
That was like one of my favorite conversations we've ever had on the podcast right there.
I just wish I was that together at her age.
I know. Like, yeah, thinking about not only her own future, but also the future of the planet. I know. I'm actually like very excited that Heather's out there working on behalf of the planet for all of us.
In the ice mountains.
Yes, because that makes me. If we've got Heather on the case, I feel like we stand a chance.
I know. I didn't want to sound like a dumbass, but I was like, I don't even know what geochemistry is, man. Sounds like.
I was gonna ask at one point, and then I was like,
maybe I'll look it up later. We're gonna get canceled because we don't know anything. Just amazing, and I love talking to everyone who loves the books, and it's so fun to hear Heather's perspective, and I'm glad that she liked the book.
I know, she's awesome. Thank you so much, Heather. All right, let's get into the Prime 5.
5 of our favorite insights and observations from this week's chapters.
Can we talk about Cheon, the heavy red?
Yes.
How interesting was she?
Yeah. Well, Cheon was a little scary. I like, too, that Lyria's like, Cheon's badass. And then Lyria talks to Cheon and she's like, I don't really like her anymore.
Yeah. She's like, she's badass, but there's something going on.
Bad vibes.
Yeah, bad vibes.
Bad vibes,
I also loved how she's like, she could beat the shit out of me, but then an obsidian could stomp the shit out of her.
Right. Lyria's like, the more of war she sees, Lyria's like, man, I had a lot of hubris coming out here.
Yeah.
Thinking I could save Volga.
I really enjoy these like teched out, crazy modded reds. Like we had Fell,
the gas miners
from the beginning. Like I don't know why I find those types of characters so interesting, but they're just like it colors this world like
it makes it steampunk.
Yeah, it's really cool. I thought she was awesome. And then like the mice, quote unquote, the mice, the black owls, But I love how first of all the obsidians call them mice. I thought
mice.
Yeah, and then they're just like darting around. That was like legitimately scary.
Well, it reminded me of the Dustwalkers when Lyria sees them coming. How they like, they like twitch because they're moving so fast.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
dude, growing up on the Rim makes you scary.
I know it is. It's a different world.
You have to be because you can't even breathe the air.
That's like Heather said. Like anything Rim related is just so cool.
Yeah,
I need a whole Rim book. I feel like
the Moon Lord Rebellion.
Yeah, we need that one. Would you rather have the Conquering or the Moon Lord Rebellion?
Both. More.
Give me
everything.
Give me all of it.
Probably Moon Lord Rebellion.
Yeah.
Because Conquering's just us lousy ass humans being like, all right.
Yeah.
I guess we lose.
Well, we had, that one guy, John Merriweather. He sounded like he
great.
put up a fight.
He sounds like a ship sailing across.
There is a Merryweather ship.
The blue.
I did a report
Ocean
about
Sea.
the Merryweather and the
Yeah.
The
Mayweather.
No, it's
What?
Merryweather and the Merrimack. Yeah, there was a famous battle, I think.
Great.
Something like that.
Don't at us.
Please
Next
don't look.
up-
Nobody Google that. This is
Trust.
probably wrong.
This is all based on trust.
I did the report in 4th grade.
I typically, when Ben tells me things, I say, okay.
Merrimack is for sure right. Anyway.
So next up on the Prime 5, we've got Athena, Conspiracy Corner.
Yes.
Who is Athena? Athena's not the nice leader of the Rising we thought she'd be. She's much tougher.
Right.
And she's really just the hand delivering what the body wants.
Right. I thought that was interesting. Yes, and as far as the Conspiracy Corner goes, if you have not read the Sons of Ares comics and want to, we do have spoilers for the entire Red Rising universe, but I will give you a respite right now, but like maybe skip ahead like 2 minutes because I'm going to talk about the Sons
comics.
of Ares. Yes. So if you still want to read those, but you've read everything else,
You should read them.
you should read them. But so I'm going to start now. There's some speculation that Athena could be Rihanna from Sons of Ares. So Rihanna is this character that's in all 3 of the books. She's the sister of Sevro's mom, Bryn. And she was with Bryn on Triton, came with her to Mars when Fitchner and Bryn got married and like helped raise. Sevro was a founding member or like one of the founding people with the Sons of Ares when Fitchner first started. She's working with him in and out. So I think and then she kind of
Sevro's aunt, basically.
Right. And then at the end of part 3, she disappears. Like they part ways and we don't know what happens. So
Conspiracy Corner.
I would say like, yes, there's a possibility that it could be her. I think there are some things that don't really
the
line
hollow
up.
of Sevro telling him about the daughters. Why wouldn't he be like,
right?
Your auntie.
I agree. Like
is
that would
Athena.
be, and then right away, I feel like we would get that connection now. You know,
yeah.
like
Why would it be like
she would
hidden?
declare herself as Rihanna if she was. Also, like, and this could be artist interpretation or whatever. So just, speaking to that, in the comic books, her appearance, she has like very white skin. Like her face is very white. In Lightbringer, Athena is described as having very dark skin, but she does have white tattoos. But those tattoos are the names of the people that were killed,
which would be after
the comics. So to me, that is a big one where it's like she looks like a completely
different person. Yeah.
Her age, she's like Darrow describes her as like a woman in her late 40s. So Darrow,
would she be older?
Darrow is 34, 35 at this point. Sever's the same age. So if we're thinking about that, like to me, she would not be old enough. She would be older.
She need to be like 60.
Yeah. And then she also describes her own backstory.
Right.
And so like Bryn and Rihanna we're thinking from Triton because that's where Fitchner met them. Yeah. And she has a little bit of a different backstory. She was like in a clan uprising around
and then
the
joined
time
pirates.
that she would have been.
Yeah, why wouldn't if she was Rihanna, why wouldn't she say it in that backstory?
Right, exactly. And it doesn't fit. Like so to me, like I don't see the connection between the two of them.
But there's a conspiracy.
But also, like Pierce has done retconny stuff before. Like there can be. This could change, and maybe it is.
Might not be canon.
But to me, I don't think there's a lot of clues here that would lead
it.
me to believe. I think Athena is a different person than Rihanna.
And maybe we'll see Rihanna in the future.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Or hear about her.
Yeah, she's still alive at the end of Sons of Ares Part 3. So, okay. I'll take the next one because I wrote this in there. This is probably not a Prime 5, but it's fun. There's, I feel like, a low-key Toy Story reference in this section. And I just absolutely love Toy Story. So
makes me cry.
It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Somebody loved me. It's like, what the fuck, Toy Story?
So Lyria is talking about flying the ship, and she's like, I don't have to clean the toilets anymore because I flew the ship.
Yes.
And Cassius is like, that wasn't flying. It was not crashing. And so this is, very much the first time Woody and Buzz ever interact. A great twosome.
And Buzz flies.
And yes, and that wasn't flying. That was falling with style. One of my favorite Toy Story lines ever, and I feel like Pierce
I see it.
Worked that in. Yeah.
It's a good line.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for entertaining that.
Next up, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Are Ra and Diomedes in love? Do they both love each other, or does one just love one? And
what do you think?
Darrow looks at her and goes, it's love then.
And she seems to admit it.
She's kind of like, well, she says something a little cryptic.
Obviously.
Like, is duty...
She's dust and shadows.
If duty is love or something...
Then it's in the way, basically.
Yeah.
It's in the way of duty. If love is in the way of... Then,
or something.
Yeah.
I'm butchering it. I think it's love.
I think it's love, too. And I think that is her admitting that it is love.
I think that it's love because everyone's like, oh... Everyone's in love with Ra, and she can't even like give anyone the time of day. But then the minute Diomedes is around, they're like, "Oh, this bitch loves Diomedes, girl.
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah.
And he clearly loves her.
Yeah. And then they have
Even
that
though
great
hard,
like
it's hard to tell with Diomedes.
Yeah.
He's very stoic.
They also have that like great interaction at the very end of these chapters when they're like. When she's like, would you kill me? And then they're like, she's like staring at him, and then they bust out laughing. I was
and
like,
everyone's like, he can laugh.
Yeah. I was like, they're in love.
They're at least like flirty.
And then our last item, we've got some lore talk here. We've got the Leviathan talk.
Syraxes.
Yeah. So we hear the backstory there, and I already noted Severo's toenails. It's just extremely distracting. And then I also wanted to mention the name of the razor, Pyrophoros. That is, I'm sure Cassie P will get into this. I might actually leave that for Cassie P.
Okay.
But it's Prometheus, and he is the Titan that gave fire to human beings. And so Pyrophoros is fire bearer.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's named for him. Anyway, back to the Leviathan talk.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a great moment, and I didn't catch this the first time around, where there is after Severo does his whole Twilight Helm thing, and they're talking about what they're going to do for Fa and like saving the people on the surface and stuff. And Darrow's like, you got a plan? He goes, yep, it's a real classic. You're going to hate it. And it's Dead Horse plan.
Dead Horse. Oh, Dead Horse.
He goes, it's a real classic.
You're going to hate it.
You're going to hate it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I missed it.
I know. I was like...
I need to go back again.
I did the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I was like, it's right there.
Shit. I was reading real fast. All right. Now that we finished our Prime 5, it's time to name our Primus of the Week, where we choose the one character who conquered our proctors of plot and rose above the rest. Our Primus of the Week is...
Man, this one's up in the air, I feel like.
Well, Heather chose Diomedes.
Right.
I think it's probably Severo, because he somehow made them not kill everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was landing. But then I was like, is it secretly actually Lyria? Because
she convinced...
She low-key convinced...
She started Severo on that put on the helmet journey.
Yes, and she said some really nice stuff to Cassius, and she saved everybody with the ship.
Yeah? Can it be 2?
Double Primus?
I'm gonna
maybe triple Primus this week?
So Heather picked Diomedes. I'm going to pick Severo.
And I'm going to pick Lyria. That's how we're going to...
And then we're the Spider-Man.
Yes. All three of us. I love that. Okay, Severo, Lyria, and Diomedes.
And Diomedes.
Okay. Let's get into the Howler mailbag. We'll start with Cassie P and some tidbits.
Hello, Howlers. It's Cassie with tidbits for chapters 55 through 62. Actually, just one tidbit, and then the one I've been waiting to share with y'all. But first, seeing as Erin has learned the name of Crush and summoned him back, I move that Ilir Erin be promoted to the rank of Relar. So for my first tidbit, first and only chapter tidbit, is in chapter 56, and the quote, "There's my girl," Cassius shouts. I don't know if he means Lyria or his ship. I'm loving Cassius right now. The fact that Lyria even crosses Darrow's mind when Cassius says that is amazing to me. And I never knew the phrase, "there's my girl," could make my heart happy, but it so does. So jealous of Truffle Pig right now. And considering Kazria is one ship I would have really loved to see blossom, I say to Darrow, Cassius means both Lyria and his quote-unquote ship. And now, the feature presentation. It's one big, beautiful cross, no pun intended, of Classic Pierce and Let's Talk Mythology Part 4, an examination of real-world historical parallels to the political and religious state in Lightbringer. During HowlerPod episode 102, Daniel mentioned a possible Spartan dual monarchy system in the future of the saga, and the light bulb went off that the current four-state situation in the books, we have the Vox Syndicate, the Rim, the Society, and the Rising, could be an approximation of the Roman Tetrarchy, or Rule by Four, which lasted from 293 to 324 CE. During the Tetrarchy, the administration of the Roman Empire was divided into eastern and western areas of influence, and each area had a senior emperor, called Augustus, and a junior or subordinate emperor, called Caesar, for a total of 4 emperors. This system worked well for just over a decade, until the first transition of power from the 2 Augusti to the 2 Caesares devolved into civil war from 306 to 324. Not unlike how the Rim, the Society, and the Rising fell into coups, competitions, and chaos a decade after Morning Star. In 324 CE, the Emperor Constantine I, or Constantine the Great, of Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, fame, finally defeated all other claimants and unified the Roman Empire under a single emperor again. So maybe this foreshadows some kind of ultimate unification of Red God? Seems a little far-fetched, but that's where the parallel leads. Next, for the religious component. In episode 102, Ben talked about the rise in religious references in Lightbringer, presumably building towards some important influence by religion in Red God. Interestingly enough, religion also played an important role in Constantine's conquest. As the legend goes, in the year 312 CE, halfway through the Civil Wars, Constantine had a dream the night before the Battle of Milvian Bridge, which is near Rome. In this dream, he saw a symbol in the sky, the Chi Rho, which are the first 2 capital Greek letters of Jesus' name/title, Christos. And it looks like a capital X, Chi, on top of a capital P, Rho. And in the dream, the symbol came with the divine message, In hoc signo vinces, or by this sign you shall conquer. The next morning, Constantine had all his soldiers paint the symbol on their shields, and his army crushed his rival Tetrarch to consolidate his rule over the western part of the empire. He later converted to and legalized Christianity throughout the empire. Lastly, in opposition to the catchy chant, Lune Invictus, insert eye roll here, Constantine's acceptance of and conversion to the Christian God is attributed to his participation in the monotheistic cult of Sol Invictus. Hopefully, this means some sort of misfortune waiting for Moonboy in Red God. It's possible this is all just coincidence and I'm connecting dots that aren't really there, but I rather choose to credit the brilliance of Howler number 1. and take a drink. Hope some of you found this at least half as interesting as I did. And, like the state in which Darrow would have lived had his enemies not brought him war. Peace.
That's a good sign up.
That was great. Cassie.
Thank you, Cassie P.
You continue to surprise us
Just
week in and week out. I know.
Cassie P's the bullet in Mario Kart.
I especially like that part
Cassie
about
P's the star.
About Lysander. So that was great.
Yes. And thank you. I am honored to be Raylar. I have done nothing to earn it. I learned this week that it's Kavoth and not Kavothe.
Oh, how are you saying it?
Well, it's funny. In the book, someone says his name Kavothi, and that's kind of in my head because I'm not doing audiobook this time. I wanted to make sure I could remember how to read.
We're talking about Wise Man's Fear, by the way, if you missed that.
And he says it's actually Kavoth, the E is silent. And I was like, fuck, why'd that come like halfway through the second book? Maybe Patrick realized people were saying it wrong to him.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm Raylar, so respect, Ben.
I will respect you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a YouTube comment that I thought had a fun question.
Nice,
so I'll pull that up. This
Get on YouTube, guys.
Yeah, comment on the episodes. This one's from Raymond. He said, just wanted to get Ben, Erin, and all of Red Rising fans' thoughts on a prequel series after Red God, The Fall of Earth to the First Golds.
You were just saying that.
I know. I didn't even think about that. I'm not sure if it's been discussed before on the podcast. Well, it's been discussed now.
It's being discussed. Raymond, would take anything. I would give me a fire hose of Pierce Brown and spray it in my face. The writing.
Yes, I think The Conquering would be great. I think The Conquering, and then like we talked about, the Moonlord Rebellion would probably be my top two.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to see like the adventures of Lauren Al Arcos.
I'd like to see the Valkyrie Spires, the rise and fall of Aaliyah Snow Sparrow.
Yeah, the first Revolt, that would also be a really good one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got a lot to cover.
Yes. I mean, we need a full-on Red Rising lore book. I mean, it needs to happen.
Just give us little short stories.
The world of Red Rising. We would help, Pierce. Let us know. I know you listen.
I'd be like, everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah. Should we do one more? Let's do an email.
Do we have
By the way, keep sending your stuff in. We've got a lot. So I tried to keep it to, 2 or 3 per episode, but we will have a full-on Howler mailbag at the end where we'll clear out the whole email, voicemail, everything. So keep sending your stuff in. I'll try to mix in, new people and stuff like that. So I really appreciate everything that you're getting sent in. Do try to keep the episodes to like a manageable length. All right. This one's from Jake. Jake in Spokane, Washington. So this is a Washington themed episode here. Yes. Let's see. He said, greatly enjoy the segments, the breakdowns, and the tidbits from Cassie P.
Hell yeah, Cassie P.
You earned 5 stars from me. No need to scoop my eyeballs out with a spoon, Erin.
Okay.
Good
if you
job.
say so, Jake.
Yeah, we'll be checking those reviews for your name.
Jake.
Yeah. He said, I just listened to episode 105 and has some thoughts. I think Octavia used the pandemonium chair on Atlas when he was younger, and that is where his dedication to the society comes from. I just can't believe that any Ra or Mooney would be that fucking dedicated to the core society.
See, this is me and Jake's conspiracy corner.
You guys are mind melding on this, yes. Especially during the reign of a moon-burning tyrant. Octavia, she's been brain diddling people for a hot minute. Next, I think Screwface is going to help save Severo's soul. Before he gets a chance to reunite with Victra, Screwface welcomes him to a revived Howlers with fucking Valdir and shares his story and gives Severo some perspective and some much needed commiserating. I like that a lot. Good call, Jake. Last, I think the Eidme is not what Bitchjander thinks it is. Its true purpose is to revert a color back to Homo sapien, maybe in the next generation or something. It's a failsafe if the hierarchy ever needed to be reset. Bitch Sander thinks he's doing one thing, but inadvertently he sets the whole damn hierarchy to level the playing field. What Daryl was fighting for the entire time.
Whoa.
Ooh, that's kind of a fun
well, then
idea.
Cassius shouldn't have fucking died for
I
that.
do feel like there's something more to the Eat Me, that it's not just going to be like this one and one. It's either not going to work or it
works
fake,
on whoever deploys it.
Yeah, something's tricky.
Like, oh, you want to kill everyone? You're dead.
Yeah. I like those. Good.
Thanks, Jake. Thank you for writing in.
Yes, thank you, Jake. All right, you know what it's time for?
What are we into this week?
Aaron, what are you into this week?
I've been seeing a lot of movies because I'm in my seasonal effectiveness disorder stage of
It's been
January.
very cold here in Kansas City.
So I'm like, I need to watch movies to remain a functioning human. The first one, though, I'm going to say 2 movies.
Okay.
May, December with Natalie Portman it's a dark story.
Yes.
But the movie's like very artsy and great acting. Mm-hmm. You can watch it on Netflix for free if you have Netflix or someone's password. But what's crazy about that movie, and it's very depressing, but is that like it's based on a true story. So then then I spent the next week reading about the true story, which that's
always fun.
Vaguely had remembered. So it's definitely a mind fuck, and it's Natalie Portman's always in these like kind of creepy movies, where she's creepy. She's a great actress. So I loved it. And then on a different note, I went and saw Mean Girls.
The musical,
the movie, because there is a Mean Girls Broadway musical.
The movie musical.
I think I went with a bunch of girls. Some of them hated it, and like I can see why. I personally loved it because of the like nostalgia of Mean Girls 1. It's definitely different, and I don't love the songs from the musical, and my main criticism is that the movie music was like so overproduced that it didn't look like they were actually singing, even though they are all actually singing. Those are all their real voices. They kind of like, it looked like they were lip syncing, because all the auto tune and I don't know, layers they threw in. It's like, just give it a little more rawness. So I feel like the voice is in the room at least. Piped in. But it's really fun. If you love Mean Girls original, then I think you would have fun watching it. Like, it left me in a good mood. So a fun little thing. Maybe wait till it's free. I spent like $20 on a ticket, which for here is a little overpriced.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ben, are you into a movie?
I'm into a TV show.
Okay.
It's on Amazon Prime. I watched the 2nd season of Reacher. Have you heard about this show? Do you know anything about it?
No.
So it's based on...
I've seen it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen the cover.
It's based on a set of like novels, like a big set of novels about this character named Jack Reacher. There's been like Tom Cruise had Jack Reacher movies. Anyway, Jack Reacher's like this like army guy that roams the United States of America and like helps people out that are in need. He always gets mixed up in these like big conspiracies, and then he's like beating people up and all this stuff. So it's pretty much that with this like big
action
fucking house of a white guy playing the role of Jack Reacher, and he does it really well because Jack Reacher is just like this very pure, like straight ahead, this is wrong, I'm gonna fix it, and I'm gonna beat a bunch of people up on the way. And nice. I don't know, it was a fun show to like work out to.
You would watch,
he's like very jacked.
Like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. So I don't know, it's like a good kind of like popcorn TV show. Sure. You don't have to think too deeply about it.
Nice.
So I didn't. I enjoyed the first season too. So I think they're both worth checking out. And that guy is fucking huge.
Well, I need to check him out.
Yeah, I think you would like him a lot, just based on what I know about your taste.
Based on Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. What's coming up next week on HowlerPod?
Lightbringer reread chapter 63 to 70.
Chapter 63 through 70, our final 4 episodes. I will tell you that we have special guests planned for the final 3.
Wow.
So me and Erin next week, and then we'll have a special guest every week after that. Those are going to be super fun.
It's getting exciting.
Yes, we're getting so close. Clang, clang, clang is almost here. I can hear it now.
It's like exciting, and I'm sad that we're almost to the end of the book. I want it to go on forever. Okay, Howlers, special thanks to Miles for the episode art. Follow Miles on Instagram at mbenskydesigns. Special thanks to Nick Brenlow for the fucking kick-ass voice work this week. Passion, energy, more passion.
Incredible.
More energy. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see Ben and me. Follow us at HowlerPod, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Etsy. Email us for the Howler mailbag at howlerpod@gmail.com. Voicemail is 1-800-516-1540. Find links to all this at howlerpod.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and spread the word about these books and read the comic books if you hadn't. And rate and review us 5 stars only. If you don't give us 5 stars only, then we'll dangle your father above a magma pool and be like,
I love that it's not them.
Surrender.
It's their dad.
Yeah. And you'll be like, oh no, Dad.
We're going to be like, give us that 5-star review.
So better do it. Your dad's dangling.
All right. Thanks, Howlers.
OMNIS VIR LUPUS.
Ow!